Slippery Slope, starring Joe Floss. And that's about it. Written and directed by Mr. Chips.
Disclaimer, slipping in baths is no joke. For your safety, avoid turning your tub into a science experiment with oil and water. The only mix you'll discover is the one between you and the floor.
Joe was a self-proclaimed bath connoisseur. Bubble baths, salt soaks, herbal infusions. If it could be done in a tub, Joe had done it. But one day, while browsing a random internet forum titled Weird Science You Can Do at Home, Joe stumbled across an intriguing idea. Could baby oil create a waterproof barrier on the skin, effectively keeping a person dry while submerged in water? The idea sparked an insatiable curiosity. That evening, Joe poured a generous amount of baby oil into the steaming bathwater. It gleamed on the surface like a shimmering film of liquid glass. Joe, with the giddy excitement of a scientist about to make a groundbreaking discovery, slid into the tub. At first, it seemed like the experiment was working. The oil coated Joe's skin, making the water bead and roll off in tiny droplets. Joe couldn't help but giggle, imagining themselves as some kind of waterproof superhero. But then, as the bath grew cold and the novelty wore off, it was time to get out. Joe placed both hands on the edge of the tub to hoist themselves up, only to slide back down with a comical swoosh. The oil, combined with the smooth porcelain, had turned the bathtub into a slippery death trap. Joe tried again, this time planting a foot firmly on the tub's edge. But it was no use. The foot slid out from under them, sending Joe flailing like a marionette in a windstorm. Panic began to set in. Joe tried every possible maneuver, rolling onto their stomach, hooking an elbow over the rim, and even attempting to grab the shower head for leverage. Each effort ended in failure, accompanied by a symphony of squeaks, splashes, and increasingly creative expletives. Hours passed. Joe had now developed the resigned determination of someone who had been bested by their own hubris. The once steamy bathroom had grown cold, and Joe's fingertips had turned into wrinkled prunes of regret. But Joe was nothing if not persistent. With a primal yell, Joe launched into their final plan, a desperate leap for freedom. Drawing inspiration from nature documentaries, Joe channeled their inner salmon. They twisted their body, gathering momentum, and launched themselves upwards in one fluid motion. The trajectory was perfect. Joe cleared the edge of the tub with a slippery grace that would have made an Olympic diver proud, only to land in a heap on the bathroom floor, panting and covered in oil, but finally free. Joe laid there for a moment, staring at the ceiling and reflecting on the absurdity of the evening. The baby oil experiment had failed spectacularly, but at least Joe had learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes curiosity really does kill the cat, or in this case, leaves it flopping around like a fish out of water. From that day forward, Joe stuck to bubble baths and left the science experiments to the professionals.
I just love the smell.